Well, hi there, I'm Steve Lopez for ChessCentral. You can find us on the web at www.chesscentral.com. We're going to look at a game here from 1862. In that year, the British Chess Association had a big congress, a tournament in London, and in that tournament on July 1st, we had a game with Wilhelm Steinitz, the future world champion, playing the white pieces against a fellow with the black pieces by the name of Thomas Wilson Barnes. Now, why is this game significant? It's not one of the great games of all time, but it does illustrate something very important that I want to point out to you, and that's the idea of development. What is development? It means getting your pieces out to good squares early. Don't leave them sitting at home on their original squares. You can't attack in chess, you can't defend in chess, and you dang sure can't win in chess if your pieces are sitting at home doing nothing. And that's what we're going to find in this game where Wilhelm Steinitz has the white pieces against Thomas Barnes. First, Steinitz puts out a e-pawn, and Thomas Barnes plays this. This is called the Sicilian defense. The name is not as important as the idea behind it. And I'll tell you what's going on here. In a lot of chess openings, white tries to get a central pawn pair. White wants to get a pawn on d4 and a pawn on e4. Black would like to prevent that. Now, black has a bunch of different ways to do it. One of them is to directly attack the e-pawn. Another way is to try to prevent that d-pawn from advancing to d4, and that's exactly what's going on in the bare bones form, the basic form of the Sicilian defense. That's why that pawn comes forward to c5, is to influence d4. It can't exactly prevent the pawn from coming there, but what happens is if a white pawn goes to d4, the black pawn can take it. Then, for example, the queen could take on d4. So black can't hold the pawn, but black is trying to discourage white from advancing his pawn to d4. So that's the basic idea of what's going on here in the Sicilian defense. So Steinitz plays this. That also influences d4, tries to help get a pawn forward onto d4. And Barnes does this. Moves this pawn forward. Now that's a decent move. What he can do now is he can get his queen out. He can also get his dark squared bishop out. The bishop next to the king can come out to e7 or d6. So that's not a bad move. Not necessarily the best move either, but it's all right. So Steinitz, of course, develops another piece. Now Steinitz is all ready to castle. You can see there are no pieces between the king and the king's rook. Now here's where it gets a little strange. Barnes plays this. I went back into a database of over 4 million games from throughout chess history, and this board position, as you see it right here, has happened exactly one time. This is the one and only game. Why? Because that move, g7 to g6, is a dog. That's a terrible move, and I'll show you why. The idea of that move, first of all, let's talk about this first. Now, with that move, what black is intending to do is move his bishop to g7. He's going to fianchetto the bishop. He's going to move his bishop from this square to this square. You can see me clicking with the mouse, with the idea of putting the bishop on this lovely long diagonal. That's actually a very good move. So why is it not a good idea here? Well, I'll show you why. Let's go back a couple of moves to this point. This is after white's second move. If black was going to fianchetto the bishop, then why didn't he just play it here instead? He could have moved the bishop out and fianchettoed it, covered that whole long diagonal, just like you see with the arrows in this illustration. So why doesn't he do it right away? Why does he move the e-pawn out first? Well, we don't know. And that's basically the problem here, is that black is wasting time. He's just lost a move. If he fianchettos his bishop on the next move, that's fine, but he could have done it a move sooner if he'd advanced his g-pawn first. So we already have a problem here, and that is that black is already falling behind in development. White castles, black fianchettos the bishop, and now white plays a knight to c3. Look what we have here. White has already made 4 developing moves. He's got 3 of his minor pieces out, and he's castled. All black has done at this point is fianchetto his one bishop, and that's it. So already 5 moves into the game, black is lagging behind in development. We'll look at more of this game in our next video. Till then, I'm Steve Lopez for Chess Central, the leader in cutting-edge chess.